Jackie asked me to come in and speak. I've come in to, I think this is the third time or second time I've come in and spoken to the class about LinkedIn. But what I wanted to do is just really go over the importance of having something like LinkedIn, because today it's not about what your skills are, it really is about who you know. And when you talk to employers today, they will tell you that most times they're hiring people because someone has given them a recommendation. Someone has said, I know someone that can help you with that job. And what they're doing is they're looking at, number one, who is that person? But number two, what are they bringing with them? What type of bank of business do they have when they're coming to me? And even as, whether you're a student, who started right out of high school and you're going to be graduating and moving on to a job, or someone who is seasoned and has been out in the workforce for a while, this is a really, really important network to be using. But what I want to do is just start basically with, what does the social media puzzle look like today? And basically this is it, and that is when you're a business online, the number one thing that you need is a website. Today you can't survive without it, because that's basically your home online. All of us live in houses, we have apartments, places where we live. If you don't have a place online, then people cannot find you. But the things that really make a website hum are, number one, social networks. When you're in business, you're looking for people to engage with you. Today, it's not about numbers. It's not about the number of people that you have in your list. It's about the number of people that you engage with and the number of people that communicate with you. Blogs. How many people blog? No one. Wow. Any communications majors here? No? How about marketing majors? Wow, anyone in the business school? Okay.
Okay. HR, a lot about human resource.
Okay, human resource, okay.
Leaders, yeah.
Yeah, even,
And then I think general management. Right?
but are most of you business majors in here? Okay. Today when you're out looking for a job, you're going to probably be asked to write at some point. If you are somebody that likes to write and wants to get into HR, wants to get into management, wants to get into marketing, one of the best things you could do is probably start a blog. The reason why you look at blogs today is because they're resourceful. They carry a lot of great information, and even though you're probably sitting here going, blog's a blog, you guys probably read blogs every single day. You don't realize they're like little articles in newspapers. But starting a blog can be one of the most important things you can do, because as an employer, if I'm going to be hiring you to maybe do some of those types of skills, maybe I want you to be communicating information out to different audiences, I'm going to be asking you if you have a blog. Do you have anything that you can show me in your writing skills? Groups and organizations. How many people belong to groups and organizations? One thing that I would suggest to everyone is that online is where you connect with people. Offline is where you meet them. So one of the best things you can do is get out and join some groups and organizations, or get out and network. Get used to going out and introducing yourself and meeting other people, and then taking that next step to follow up by connecting with them online. Email newsletters. That's a great way for businesses to be able to contact you with different things that are going on. How many people have email newsletters delivered on a regular basis to their email accounts? Oh, not many. But it's a great way for businesses to get people to click on information within an email newsletter and basically end up back at your website. Inbound links, what that is other people saying that you have a great business and they're connecting with you. Inbound links means that your website is located on somebody else's website. Inbound links are what really drive websites today for businesses. Face-to-face, one of the best things you can do. I get to go out and speak to large groups of people on a regular basis. I wouldn't be able to take a lot of my business further, whether it's my food blog, whether it's my marketing, or it's my new job that I have now. I would never be able to take it to the next level without having some form of face-to-face interaction. Traditional advertising, it hasn't gone away. We still see advertising on pin boards outside, newspapers, magazines. Traditional advertising hasn't gone away, it's just changed. And mobile. Mobile is huge. How many people have smartphones? I know in a class like this, everyone should. But I go to classes today where people will go, I still have the old-fashioned flip phone. That's wonderful, but you're so far behind in technology that it takes a long time to catch up. Plus, for business people, you need to be connected all the time. It's social, it's local, it's mobile. So if you can't engage in that sphere, then what happens is you get left behind. So what is LinkedIn? LinkedIn is basically, it's your Rolodex online. And I'm gonna say the word Rolodex and half of you are gonna say, I have absolutely no idea what she's saying, because she is old. A Rolodex, what it was years ago when we would meet people, we would have this little Rolodex of the ABCs and it would sit on your desk. And if you needed somebody's information, you would go through the Rolodex and go, oh, Amy Adams here, oh, here's her phone number. And I would keep all the information on a Rolodex. Today, we keep all of our information online. And especially now, with smartphones, smartphones really are your Rolodex. It's that place where you're holding on to information that you have gotten from other people. So what LinkedIn does is LinkedIn makes it easy for you to take your resume, put it online, and then has the opportunity for you to connect with other business people. Because those other business people, those first degree connections, are going to be your second and third degree opportunities. Those are the people that you're going to lean on to find your next job, to give you the next opportunity, whether it's an internship, whether it's the ability just to shadow somebody. You need to be connected, but you need to be connected in a professional capacity. LinkedIn stats. So today when we look at some of the statistics that go behind it, it's probably about 250 million strong. LinkedIn grows all the time. It's not a network that you can actually say, I don't really need to be there. There are a lot of social networks today that people will say, oh, I'm not on Facebook, or I only use Instagram. Every once in a while we use Snapchat. I'm on Pinterest. LinkedIn is one of those networks that you really need to be on, because that's where employers are looking for their next set of employees. 74 million in the United States. 172,000 people join every minute. The average household income is 109,000. So you have the ability to meet with people that you might not normally get to meet in an everyday scenario. Reid Hoffman from LinkedIn said, LinkedIn is basically your corporate office. That's where you're going to work. Facebook, it's like that barbecue in the backyard. You have that ability to kind of relax. It's with family and friends. You can talk a little bit about everything. Because I always say to people, especially when they're using Facebook for business, if you're sitting on your personal account and pushing out business information all the time, it's boring. I always say, would you go to a cookout and talk about your job for the entire time you're there? Probably not. So, you have to look at Facebook and say, I'm using that in a very, kind of casual atmosphere. But then you have Twitter, you have MySpace, you have different sets of social networks that sometimes we call the bar, because it's not where everybody normally hangs out, but if your target audience people hang out there, then you have to be there. I may not like Snapchat, but if that's where I'm going to converse with my kids on a regular basis, I need to be there. So sometimes it may be out of your comfort zone, but it becomes one of those things that you have to be at. So getting started. I'm going to go back for 1 minute. I always say there are two important things that you need when you get started with LinkedIn. The first is go out and have a good snapshot taken of yourself. Have it be professional. You can find professional people today that will just take business headshots. You can have them taken outside. For all of you that are here, you must know somebody that's in the arts department that probably has a photography, that is probably doing some form of photography and is looking for some subjects. Have someone take a really cool picture of you, because you need a picture to go across all your networks. If I'm going to hire somebody, I'm looking to see, is that one picture everywhere? If I'm seeing it on LinkedIn, is it on Facebook? Is it on different networks so that I know who it is that I'm going to be interviewing? But it's really important that you have a nice headshot. And it doesn't have to be anything that's corporate. The biggest thing is that it needs to look somewhat professional, because this is the first impression that you're going to have with the people that are going to be hiring you. Second thing you need is an updated resume. So put your resume together and have it on some form of Word doc, so when you start with your LinkedIn, all you have to do is cut and paste your positions in place. And remember to go back and visit it periodically. Don't get your LinkedIn profile half done and then leave it, because that's the way people find it all the time. And one of the biggest things that employers are looking for today, which was kind of odd, I taught yesterday, and this fellow came up to me and he said, you were telling me for the longest time that I needed to have my LinkedIn account up to date. And he said, I applied for a job, and the first thing this guy said to me was, what's your clout score? Has anybody had their clout score done? Does anyone know what clout is? Clout is spelled Klout, and what it does is it takes all of your social networks and puts them in one place, and it gives you a score from 0 to 100. So a lot of times employers, if you're young going out into the job market, you don't have a lot of experience, an employer is going to look at it and say, all right, I get that. You know, they may not have all their communities in place. But if you're someone who's a seasoned employee looking for a job, a lot of companies want to know, what type of clout do you have? What type of community are you bringing with you? When I got hired by this company, Fun Enterprises, they not only hired me for what I could do, they hired me because of my book of business, because I have a really robust profile on LinkedIn. I have a huge following on Google+. I'm active on Facebook. I have a Facebook business page that had more followers than the company that I went to. So not only are they looking, because I say to employers all the time, if you're going to be hiring someone, if this is an entry-level position, hire somebody that maybe doesn't have experience. But if you're hiring someone for a seasoned position, you better look at what their book of business is. Because if they're coming to you with not that many connections and not really understanding technology that well, I'm not sure if I want them. Because it's going to take a little bit of time to build that book of business. So this is LinkedIn. All of you started a LinkedIn account? Yes? Okay. So you all know how the dashboard works. And in the first section when you come on, you have LinkedIn Today. How many people have set that to follow news feeds that are of interest to you? No? What you can do is if you click on LinkedIn Today, right under, it's actually underneath, it will actually ask you if you want to see the different news feeds that you would like to follow. And you can go in and you can actually set them. So I have, for me, I have social media, I have entrepreneurs, I have customer service, I do all sorts of management and business groups. But I use it as a feed so that when I'm looking to push out information, just so that I can be a resource, it's not even stuff I'm writing, I just want to be a resource. I use that as a place to find some really great information. So this is your feed. Up in the right-hand corner where it says, let's see if I can get this to, oh, put that back on. I don't know where it is. Oh, there it is. Okay, so right here, these are the people you know. For all the people that you start connecting with, what LinkedIn's going to do is they're going to pull them all together and they're going to say, if you're connected to this group of people, these ones, you may know all of these twos. Or they may look at your profile and go, oh, you went to UMass Dartmouth, you may know some of these people. Or you worked at Starbucks, you may know some of these people. So look at this area on a regular basis and see if there are people that you can connect with. But one cautionary word of advice, don't skip over levels. And what that means is if someone is a second degree to you, and you really don't know them that well, but you know you have a few people that are connected to them, don't just jump over them and say, hi, I'd like to connect. Because most people are sitting there going, I know that they're connected to all these people, but I have no idea why they didn't ask these people to introduce them to me, especially if I haven't met them. I have 378 people that sit in my invitation box, and it's just because I go to different functions, even like a function tonight. I will invite people, please join me. But when you log in to join with me, please tell me how you know me. Because a lot of times I'll get something with no picture on it. It will say, I want to connect with you, and I'll go, I have no idea where I met them from. So if you don't know the person, use somebody else to connect you. Look at the people that are there and ask them, could you connect me with this person? Because you'll have a much better relationship built, and when you need to lean on them or you need to meet them to go to the next level, you can. I had a fellow who needed to connect with the CEO of LLB, and he had a bunch of connections, and he kind of ran it, and he saw that he had 3 second-degree connections at LLB. Didn't know the people and figured, I'll just try and connect with them. So he connects with them, and he realizes they're connected to the CEO. Problem is he doesn't know these people. So now he's connected, great, can't do anything with it. Can't reach out to them and go, hi, I connected with you because I want to get to the CEO. you know nothing about me, but would you connect us? So think about, when you're making that connection, if you don't know who that person is, then the ability for you to move forward, it becomes halted. This will tell you right here how many people have looked at your profile. That's not a bad thing. What I'll do sometimes, if I want people to look at my profile, I'll go look at theirs. Because I know I'm going to get the reaction back. Because you can set up your account that says, when you click on it, it will say, do you want people to see that you've been looking at this profile? If it's no, then it stays no for everybody that you look at, meaning that they can't see you, you can't see that. But if you're looking for a job and you're investigating different things, and you want to look at, who the recruiter is, or you maybe want to look at who the marketing director is, who the management person is, sometimes just by looking at their profile, you're going to gain a lot of knowledge about them, but it also may give them an opportunity to look at your resume too. So on your profile page, you can tell I haven't changed mine yet. There are a few things that you need to do. Number one is get a good title for what you're trying to do. And it doesn't necessarily have to mean that it's the place where you work. Some people will write in, president of certain company, or, manager at Macy's, something like that. Instead, what I chose to do was I used keywords. I wanted keywords in there because if people were going to look for me, I wanted them to find me because I was a blogger, because I did social media marketing. I have up there that I was a senior business advisor, but if you notice, I didn't put in that I was from the Mass Small Business Development Center. Why? Because it's a horrible name, right, Jackie? It's this long. It's too hard to put in. It would have taken up all sorts of space. And what do you think that they were really looking for? They were probably looking more for a business advisor than they actually were for the company. So think of keywords of how people would find you, or the types of positions that you may be looking for. Open it up and put in your contact information. I can't tell you how often I will be at an event, I will take my phone, I will go into my LinkedIn account and go, sure, I can give you Bob Smith's number. And I look at it and Bob Smith's number isn't there. And Bob Smith's email isn't in there either. So then what do? I go looking for somebody else. So the thing is, if you have a short window of opportunity for someone to remember who you are, make sure you fill it in. If you have a Twitter account that you feel that an employer can look at, put your Twitter account down. If you have a Twitter account and it's not something that you want your employers to find, make sure it's locked down. You can put in a telephone number where they can reach you, an address, even if it's your home address that you were looking for. If you're looking for a job, you could put websites in. That's a perfect example of why I would say to some people, do some blogging, because it gives you the opportunity to kind of make it your profile online or your portfolio. So you can put that in. Email addresses, IM, so that's an important amount of information that you want to put in. They're also looking for 3 jobs. That's the magic number. If you haven't had 3 consistent jobs, it's okay for you to go back in your history. So if you had a certain job in high school and maybe you've had one in college and it's been the same one, but you've had 2 positions there, you can use both positions. As for seasoned employees, I go all the way back to basically when I graduated from college, and I graduated from college in 2000. Thank you. But I go all the way back. But why? Because I was in a family-owned business for 17 years. I also had positions. I worked for the state in the Department of Revenue. I worked in withholding tax. So those were different things that really worked. But I've always just added in all the jobs that I've had.
You don't have 3.
What if you don't?
In one job,
If you've had one job all your life, if you had different positions within the job, well, within the company, military, but I bet you've had a bunch of different positions in the military. Okay, so you can use all of those different positions. So it's all right to put all of those in. My husband was in the military; he used to put his in too. All right, but
It shows diversity.
Yeah, it does, and
Skill set.
And the big thing is if you took a job and you were only there for 3 months and then you started another job, it's all right. Leave the 3 months blank. If it wasn't a job that worked and you don't want people to know about it, it's okay. People today, they have gaps in their jobs. I think the big thing is if you have a large gap in your jobs, just be ready to be able to explain that. You know, it could have just been, well, I was in school the whole time, or I was out of the country, or I was doing some form of training, I was volunteering. I mean, remember too, if you're doing any form of volunteering, that's a job. You know, you can put that down, because I, as an employer, may want to look at it and go, well, you know, she didn't have a job, but she was volunteering. And I may get some great recommendations from the place you volunteered. Put your education in. Picture, don't leave the picture blank. And I don't want to see a logo. I don't want to see a picture of your dog. I'd like to see a picture of you, so that when you're meeting with people, it's face to face. Today, with social media marketing, people want to know who you are and what you do. So if I get to something and I see I can't see who you are or what it is you really do, then the chances are I'm just going to move on. Executive summary, very important. And you can have as much fun with an executive summary as you want. And it was funny, I spoke with my girlfriend. Her son is graduating from University of Connecticut, and he actually came in and met with me, and I taught him a little bit about social media marketing. He ended up taking a job this past summer doing some social media marketing, and that's what he would like to do. And I'm talking to her, and she really hasn't been back out in the workforce for a while. She's like, I'm not sure if I really like Kevin's executive summary. I think it's just too loose. And I'm like, well, what do you mean it's too loose? I don't know. I just don't think it's professional. So now I'll look at it. So I looked at it today. It was actually really good. I liked the fact that I actually got to know who he was. And he made a reference to, he wants to work for an ad agency. And he made a reference to Mad Men. And for me, I absolutely love Mad Men. It's a really cool series. And I love the different types of advertising they do, the marketing, because that's what I do. But for me to see that reference, I thought to myself, that was a really neat reference for somebody who wants to go into that. Because it just kind of showed me that he was showing me a different side of himself. So the big thing is to be transparent. Let people see who you are. You know, but make sure it's in a professional capacity, but you can be lighthearted with it. You can add a little bit of humor. But just make sure that, you know, it contains keywords for what it is you're trying to do. You can enhance your profile. So if you've done any projects, if you've put together any presentations, if you have a portfolio of artwork or anything like that, or maybe you've written a bunch of articles, they're not on a blog, but maybe they were in a doc, and you just want to be able to put them in a file so that if there was an employer that wanted to look at maybe some of your writing skills, they could. So there are great ways that you can hold on to the information that you have in any of these. So projects, publications, if you've got any types of certifications, those are always great things that you can share.
So Trish, can I just clarify?
Yep.
Go back to that for a second.
Mm-hmm.
So I probably misused the word a little bit, because I was saying, you know, writing your profile. What I meant was that summary piece is what I'm looking for. What I understand the profile to be is those other different pieces that you might have.
Yep.
I was more focused on having you write that description that Trish was just talking about, summary, executive summary.
Yeah, executive summary, like I said, it basically tells you, you want to tell the employer basically who you are and what you want to do. And are there examples of what you have been doing that can show an employer that you're the one that needs to be hired? So here are some benefits to LinkedIn. So once you have everything in place, I think this is the big spot where everybody gets stuck. And they go, all right, I've just put this entire LinkedIn profile together. I've connected with 50 or 60 people. Now what? Because I don't see any benefit to this. So I'm going to show you some of the things that you can do with LinkedIn that will enhance it a little bit, but also get you to kind of use it more regularly. So the first is, it's branding and optimizing. So like I had already spoken about, is make sure you have some keywords in your title. Very important. Even if it's just, recent graduate, recent marketing graduate, recent management graduate. That's okay. You can put those things in. The other thing is that you have the opportunity to actually fill in other people's contact information. It's nothing that they're going to see. But let's say you start connecting with someone and you connected with, a boss of yours who you worked with for the summer. when the two of you connected and you were looking to get in touch with him, and you noticed on his profile that it wasn't there, but you had it in a piece of paper or in a business card somewhere, you can actually go onto their profile and fill it in, and now start using it as your own database. He can't see that you filled it in, nobody else can, but you can now start filling in contact information of the people you're connected to, so that when you do need that information, it's readily available. So that's the updating the contacts. So that's basically, once you've filled all yours in, make sure that you can update any of your contact information if the information isn't there. Figure out who your maven is. And what I mean by maven is, there are probably going to be 5 to 10 people in your life that you're going to be able to count on your fingers that are going to be your major connectors. Not only can they connect you to people, but they probably have a broad base of people themselves. When I'm using LinkedIn, especially if I'm teaching at Christmas time, I'm looking at one of the classes that I'm supposed to be teaching second week in January. There's opportunity for 50 people to be in the class, and I noticed that there are like 27 seats still available. I've got about 2.5, 3 weeks. I'm working my rear end off on a brand new program. I've probably spent close to 20 hours researching all of the new social media trends of 2014. And I'm thinking, I don't want to teach it to a group of just 23 people. So I get onto LinkedIn and I identify different people. And I send out 2 sets of emails. The first one is to people that I know that come to my classes regularly because they need that information and update. And what do? I send them an email that says, I'm teaching, hope you're having a great holiday. I just spent 20 hours researching what the trends are going to be for 2014. I'm going to be teaching on Thursday, the 18th. Why don't you sign up for the class? And I put the live link into the class. Then I flipped it and I said, okay, I'm going to look at my influencers. I'm going to look at people that maybe I'm going to come to the class, but are really well connected and will push out the information if I ask. So what I do is I look for those 5 or 10 people. I put them on one email and I go, listen, I know you guys don't need this class. I'd love it if you came, but you're very well connected. Would you do me a favor and pass this email on? So by January 1st, I had 4 seats available in my class. So what I'm doing is I'm being strategic about looking at who are the people that I have in my bank that maybe need my services, but I'm also looking at it going, who are the people that I know of that will push my services forward? So start looking at some of the people that you connect with and identify them and say, is this somebody who is a mover and shaker? Are they someone that has a lot of connections, that's well networked, and that might be able to help me find a job? Because certain people out there will be able to help you. You can search for people, and you can search for people in different capacities. So you can look for them by keywords, you can look by name, you can look by business. So now you have the opportunity to start looking at people that you might be able to connect with. But the biggest one that I use all the time is the keyword. Because if I'm looking for a marketing manager, or a VP of sales, or I'm looking for the facilitations manager, I now have the ability to look up those keywords and the titles, and I can also identify the locations of where I'd like to find them. So if I want to be able to find them from, let's say from Dartmouth, and I say I'm going to go out 25 miles from here, because I really want to stay in this region, and 25 miles is definitely going to put me in Providence, probably just shy of Boston. So now you have the opportunity to kind of run these things and start looking for people in different positions that maybe you want to connect to, because you want to work for that company, or you just want to see what types of resources are out there.
So who came in and talked to us about that exact thing a couple weeks ago? Yes, we had a student who's graduating this year, so a contemporary of the class. A lot of them know him personally. And he did that exact thing. He searched for companies that had management leadership programs, training programs type of things. And he was able to find, 15 or so of them, and ended up getting 11 or 12 responses. And he just got hired by Google.
Yeah.
As a result of his search through LinkedIn. He didn't know anybody. That's how it started. So that's exactly what I think he used, is to do that.
Yeah, the biggest thing that I would suggest you do is use this as a great resource, because today, the way you're going to get a job is if you do your homework. My husband owns a law firm. They recently were looking for an intern, and they put information out for the intern. And and they asked for certain specifications. They had 15 resumes that came in. 2 of them really investigated and did their homework. The rest of them just kind of sent a resume in because they were looking for a job. They were looking for someone that was passionate about special ed. 10 or 12 of them came in, never even mentioned special ed. Talked a lot about the fact that they were a management, grad student and a law student. My husband goes, that does nothing for me. He goes, what it tells me is he's looking for a job for the summer and it's not anyone that we can cultivate. But the thing is they're looking for you to look up where the business is, who are the people that work there, what are some key points that you know about the company that would impress somebody when you got in touch with them. You also have the ability to join groups. One of the things I would suggest is groups aren't as great as what they used to be. If you want to join some of the bigger organizations like an alumni group or maybe I would say alumni or maybe a marketing group, a management group, something that has an association that's connected with what you're doing, HR, connect in those groups. I think the better place is companies, and I'm going to talk a little bit about companies, but groups can work. There's a group that I belong to which is called Peer Source. It's a locked group. So what happens is there are a number of businesses that came together that said, something, we all use LinkedIn. We need a place where we can sit and have conversation without people really being able to see it. And we want to bring forward different scenarios that are happening within our business. So what they do is they use this as a place to be able to discuss things. This is like one of the best groups that I belong to because they constantly have different conversations going. You can get recommendations. Anytime you're doing an internship or you're working for a company that has had you working for a while and someone from the company has profiles on LinkedIn, get them to write you a recommendation. It's very important and it looks amazing when you're going for a job. If I see that there's somebody who has a number of recommendations, what it tells me is that there are people out there supporting what it is that they do. And you can also get what are called endorsements. Right now, for most of you who are in school, you probably don't have anything that has a lot of endorsements on it. So one of the things that you can do with the endorsements is, if you noticed on LinkedIn, it's a drop and drag system, which means you can take different portions of LinkedIn and you can grab them and you can drag them up and down the profile. What I would suggest is take your endorsements and bring them down to the bottom of your profile. When you start to get 30 or so endorsements in certain categories, decide on whether you want to bring them to the top or not. Right now, mine happens to look really good. So what did I do? I dragged it up and I put it under my summary or my executive statement. Why? Because I want them to see that the things that I talked about match the skill set that I'm endorsed for. So these can work to your advantage. There's 2 things that you can do. You can either shut it off, which means it won't show up on your profile at all. The problem is once you shut it off, it's off for good. You can't go back and go, decided I'd like to bring it back. So that's why I always tell people, take it and just drag it to the bottom of the account, because at that point, I'm not going to be looking for a lot of endorsements from a student, but I may be looking for endorsements from others. If you have a business, normally we suggest that people register their business. The only way you can register your business, you have to have a website and you have to have an email address that goes back to the website. So you can't have a Google, a Gmail, a Yahoo, a Hotmail, AOL. So it does have to go back to the business. And these are what the profiles look like. One of the things that they're doing now is they're allowing you to follow businesses. So one of my biggest suggestions would be, if you want to work for a certain company, put the company in the search bar up at the top, right here, run the company, and if it has a company page and they're posting on a regular basis, there's a little button on the side, follow. Click the follow button, and what will happen is anytime they put any update on it, it will automatically go onto your dashboard stream. But it's a great way to follow different companies that you may be interested in. So that's a small one, under 50, but this is a perfect example. How many people would like to work for Deloitte? Deloitte's a pretty good company. It's a huge company. Or Covidien, any of those. Maybe you want to go into healthcare, Brigham and Women's, Partners, Stewart Health. They're huge, huge companies that have very active pages. So the thing is if you're interested in these companies, even if in the future, maybe you're like, right now they may not hire me, but if I have the skill set, maybe they will in the future. Great place to be able to follow different amounts of information that's there. So they're posting on a regular basis. Sometimes it's about a job, other times it could just be about different blogs or articles that they've been writing. I'm going to go back for 1 minute. See that square that I outlined? That's a nice little key block, because once you get to the business page, now you have the opportunity to see who works there and how closely connected you are to them. So if you actually click on this right here, it's going to take you here, and it's going to show you all the people that you possibly are connected to in that company. So if you have some first degree connections, you're going to end up with quite a few second and third degrees. If you don't, you may find some second degree connections and some people that may be able to connect you to them. So searching for companies, you can actually go in and just search, do a general search, and it will show you all the companies that are there. And then you have the opportunity to click on them, go on to them, and then if you want to follow them, you can hit the button and do that. Premium versions. A lot of people will say, oh, I have a LinkedIn account, am I better off getting something that I can pay for? I would suggest no. It has a lot of great features just for free. If you are somebody that is going into HR and you're looking to do recruiting, or you're looking to make more connections with people, a lot of recruiters will use the premium levels. It will allow you to connect with people at different levels. But at this point, I think I have probably 1,100 people that I'm connected with on LinkedIn. I haven't bought the program yet. I get great resourceful information. Even if you wanted to, you can buy it month by month. So if you wanted to do something where you bought it for a few months, just so that you could get more connections and more of their structure, it allows you to see more profiles, and it allows you to see more third degree profiles than what they normally would give you on a free version. Okay, and then there's the ability to search for jobs. That is huge today. Most people will tell you that their next job is probably going to come from some form of LinkedIn connection. Before I was with this job, I had been looking for other jobs, and I was using this because it gives you up-to-date information. It tells you who the recruiter is. It will tell you how many people have applied for the job. It will tell you whether it's on fire. And one of the biggest things you want to make sure when you're looking for when you're looking at the job, how many people have used Wordle.net? WORDLE.net. What it is, it's a cloud program, so it's a word cloud. What I would suggest that anyone looking for a job is take the entire description, copy it, throw it into Wordle.net, and what it's going to do is it's going to word cloud it. It's going to tell you all the keywords of what they're looking for. Make sure your resume or your profile has those keywords in it, because that's what they're looking for.
WORDLE.net.
Yep, Wordle, WORDLE.net. And don't have generic cover letters, and don't have generic resumes. If you're going after a number of different positions, if I was going after a marketing position, I would be using all my marketing and my social media. If I was going for community relations, I wouldn't be using the same marketing. I'd be switching it up a little bit to make sure that my keywords were different and that my approach was a little bit different. So today, you have to be able to have a versatile resume that you can kind of add and take away depending on what you're looking for. You can do a prioritize your profile, which was kind of neat. It's $30 a month. And if you were looking for a job in a certain industry, you can do it according to keywords, and you can get your profile to come up at the top of searches. So if you've got some good experience and you're thinking to yourself, I'd like to come up the next time people are looking for social media marketing or digital marketing, then what I might do is I might pay $30 to have my profile come up at the top. How many people have seen the Pulse Network? The Pulse Network is a little bit different from the LinkedIn Today. But what Pulse is LinkedIn was trying to get people to engage more. LinkedIn was one of those networks where people kind of went onto it, they connected with people in a business capacity. They joined a few groups here and there, but they really weren't engaging with a lot of people. And what happened was when all of the algorithms changed on search engine optimization started saying, we're looking for people who are engaging. How many times have you commented on something on LinkedIn? How many times have you shared something? How many times have you liked something? It's the same on Facebook. It's the same on Twitter. They're looking to see how well you're engaging and interacting in your communities. So what they did was they hired 190 different people from all different types of organizations and industries and asked them to start blogging. And what was happening is these people who are now blogging are having these amazing conversations on LinkedIn. And I think that's why the groups haven't done as well. Groups were always this place that people would join, and then all the hacky spammers would put in, hey, I just put in a new thing, buy my product. People really didn't understand how to best use some of those groups. So today what they're doing is they're putting out great information on Pulse. And when you read these articles, read all the comments. Read all the interaction that you're seeing with people on these articles. And you have the ability to follow different people. One of my favorite is Ann Handley. She is actually the head of marketing profs. And not only does she write a great piece on marketing, she's probably one of the best storytellers that's out there. And she talks about all different things. But go out there and find different people in industries that you like. And when you see stuff, share it, comment on it, engage. So these are some of the Pulse influencers. So they go anywhere from Adriana Huffington, Richard Branson, or Barack Obama. You know, even if they're writing just once a month, they're writing. So these are some of the Pulse channels. So not only can you connect with people, but you can also connect with different industries too. And if you really want to stay connected, what we're seeing now is we're not seeing new networks come forward. What we're seeing is applications that enhance networks. So now you should have, how many people have a LinkedIn button on application on their smartphone? Okay, first thing you need to do. So everybody's got their account, but you can't access your account unless you're in front of your computer, and I can guarantee you that you're probably spending 60 to 70% of your time on your smartphone. Download the LinkedIn app. This is one of the apps that you can actually download. So it's the Pulse Network. So if you're somebody that likes to read some of that information and be kept up to date, you can now have it streamed onto your smartphone. The other thing you can use is an application called Card Munch. So when you meet somebody and you get their business card, now what do you do with it? Well, you can take it home, you can put it in a box and shove it in a drawer somewhere. Because today, the life expectancy of the business card that you hand out is about 24 hours. If I can't figure out where to connect with you, the chances are pretty good it's going to get lost in that heavy bag that I carry around. It has in it. It's going to get lost. I'm going to pull it out about a month ago. I have no idea how I met with this person, and into the trash it goes. So if you want to be able to make an impression on someone, especially somebody who doesn't use this type of technology but maybe uses LinkedIn, what it allows you to do is take a picture of a business card. It will gather all the information. It will stream it up to LinkedIn. If that person has a profile, it will find the profile for you and ask you if you want to connect. Wouldn't that be great if you went to a networking event, met some really important people, took a picture of their business card, and wrote to them, "Thank you very much for speaking with me. I really enjoyed our conversation. I'd love to meet for coffee, and I'd love to be able to connect with you and keep you in my contacts." People would be really impressed. And then you can actually follow educational desires too. So if you're somebody who likes to follow people in certain industries, you can actually go in to where you went to school, or actually you can go in with a few of them. I went into Stonehill College, and when I clicked on it, because I graduated from there, it will tell me what industry most of my alumni are working in. So if I'm looking for certain industries and I'm looking to make connections with my alumni, it's going to target the different areas of where they are. So in the United States, greater Boston area, there's a lot of alumni there. In what industry? Stonehill, biggest industry is banking, and then education. So for my target area of where I am and for my alum, it's going to tell me those different industries that I can connect with.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.